The day started like any other, at least from the outside. But for those who had been quietly watching the storm building around Yaman in recent weeks, something felt different, even before the news broke. It wasn't a scandal, it wasn't a fight, and it wasn't a new rumor stirred up by the press. It was something far more personal, something that hit deeper than any headline ever could. Because today was supposed to be special. It was his birthday. A day most celebrities celebrate with glamorous parties, endless stories, thousands of comments, and affectionate messages. A day that usually reminded fans how loved their favorite star truly is. But this year, something was off. Something was missing. Something everyone noticed. It started subtly. Fans woke up expecting to see the usual, stories tagged with his name, a post from his girlfriend, maybe a picture together, or even a heartfelt message. Any sign that she remembered the day. But as the hours passed, her profile remained cold. Silent. Empty. No birthday wishes. No heart emoji. Nothing. As if the day didn't matter at all. And that silence started spreading like fire. Why didn't she post anything? Did something happen between them? Is she ignoring him? Are they still together? Comments like these began flooding social media before noon. His fans, who know every detail, every glimpse, every small change in his life, couldn't believe what they were seeing. Some tried to defend her. Some stayed quiet. But most felt something was definitely wrong. Because Ken is not the kind of man who expects grand gestures, but he is the kind who notices when something deeply meaningful is missing. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, away from the cameras and the noise, Ken started his day the way he always does, quietly, privately, without much fuss. He's never been someone who craves attention on his birthday. But this year, he felt something different. Not because of what people gave him, but because of what one person didn't. He kept checking his phone, once in the morning, then again before lunch, and again after a meeting. A message? A missed call? A small, happy birthday from the woman the media has tied him to for months? Nothing. Hours passed. Still nothing. People around him noticed he was a bit quieter than usual. Not sad, not someone like him. Just thoughtful. As if trying to understand something he couldn't quite put into words. But the truth? It stung. More than he expected. Because even if he never said it out loud, he cared. He cared about her message. He cared about her remembering. He cared about what it meant, or what it didn't. And while fans were exploding with speculation online, Ken chose silence. Not a single response, not a single hint of irritation, not a passive-aggressive story, not a cryptic caption. Just calm. Just focus. But beneath that calm was a decision forming, one that would surprise everyone. A response no one expected. A move that would flip the entire situation upside down. Because if there's one thing people forget about Yaman, it's this: he never reacts the way the world expects him to. And today, of all days, would be no different. As the day continued, the silence surrounding his birthday began to feel heavier, not just for him, but for the millions watching. His name trended worldwide by early afternoon, but not because of a new project, a movie, or a viral clip. It trended for one reason: why didn't she say anything? The narrative had changed. What seemed like a simple oversight had turned into a global conversation. Every fan page, every forum, every comment section was dissecting the same topic. Some believed she simply forgot. Others insisted it was intentional. A few suggested trouble behind the scenes. But the one thing no one knew was the truth, because Ken himself was giving them nothing. No reaction. No hints. No explanations. That silence from him made everything even more mysterious. By mid-afternoon, paparazzi cameras began circling the neighborhood where he was believed to be staying. Reporters waited outside cafes he sometimes visited. Journalists refreshed his social media pages like their lives depended on it. But Kim remained invisible. Not because he was hiding, but because he was thinking. He had spent years living under the spotlight. Years being misunderstood, overanalyzed, exaggerated, and judged. And through all of it, he had learned one powerful truth: his peace mattered more than their noise. So instead of engaging with the chaos, he did something completely unexpected. He left his phone in another room. He turned off notifications. He stepped away from the world for a few hours. He went for a walk, not in a crowded place, not somewhere fans would find him, but somewhere quiet. A small path near the water. A place where he could breathe without performing. A place where the only sounds were the waves and the distant sounds of life passing by. And this walk became the turning point. Because during these moments alone, he realized something important: the disappointment he felt wasn't just about the missing birthday message. It was about what that silence symbolized. Effort. Appreciation. Respect. Small gestures that meant something bigger. He wasn't angry. He wasn't jealous. He wasn't heartbroken. He was reflective. People expected a dramatic reaction. Maybe a cryptic story. Maybe a cold unfollow. Maybe a statement that would fuel the fire for weeks. But that's not who he is, not anymore. As he walked, he remembered the times he had been harshly judged for overreacting. The times people had twisted his words. The times he had been made into a villain simply for being honest. And he realized he didn't want that to happen again, not on his birthday, not because of someone else's silence. So instead of reacting emotionally, he chose maturity. Instead of posting something dramatic, he chose grace. Instead of feeding the rumor mill, he chose peace. But while he chose silence publicly, something shifted privately. He returned home later that afternoon, sat down, and picked up his phone, not to check her profile, not to stalk her activity, not to wait for a message, but to make a decision. A decision about how he wanted to live from this moment on. A decision about who deserved space in his life. A decision about what kind of energy he wanted around him. He knew people were watching. He knew fans were worried. He knew the press was waiting for a meltdown. But he also knew what they didn't: his response would surprise everyone. And soon, the world would see exactly what he meant. Evening approached, and by now the story had spread far beyond his fanbase. Entertainment news outlets had already published articles. YouTube channels were making reaction videos. TikTok edits appeared everywhere, all echoing the same shock: his girlfriend didn't even wish him a happy birthday. It had become the topic of the day. But while the world was screaming, Ken remained strangely calm. Almost too calm. And that calmness is exactly what worried the people around him the most. Because when someone like him chooses silence, it usually means he's thinking deeply. He spent the early evening at home, intentionally away from social media. He made himself something simple to eat, played with his dog, and tried to keep the day normal. But the unanswered question followed him everywhere: why didn't she say anything? He didn't want to assume the worst. Maybe she was busy. Maybe she was overwhelmed. Maybe she was planning something private. But the truth was harsher: she had been active on Instagram the entire day. Posting stories. Liking photos. Commenting under friends' posts. Everything except acknowledging that it was his birthday. He wasn't petty enough to obsess over such details, but he wasn't foolish enough to ignore them either. A birthday message wasn't about ego. It wasn't about public displays. It was about attention, care, and basic acknowledgement. If someone couldn't offer that, what did it say about the relationship? Still, he didn't let himself spiral. Instead, he chose to face the situation directly. When night fell, he finally opened his phone, not to check her page, but to respond to fans. Thousands of birthday messages awaited him. Kind words, long paragraphs, fan videos, artworks, edits, and love from all over the world. And for the first time that day, he smiled. Because there was something pure in those messages, something real. The world may judge him harshly, but his fans always showed him unconditional love. He reposted a few stories, liked dozens of messages, wrote a small, simple thank you note. But everyone noticed something. His thank you felt different. More emotional. More grateful. More heartfelt. It was as if he was saying, if someone else forgot, you didn't. The fans felt it immediately. Meanwhile, she still hadn't written him. It was now late, too late for excuses. Too late for I forgot. Too late for a last-minute romantic gesture. And the strange thing? Instead of making him angry, it made him see everything clearly. He realized that love is not proven by big statements or expensive gifts. It's proven in moments like this, small, meaningful gestures. He realized he had been giving too much effort to someone who couldn't even give the bare minimum in return. So he made a choice. Not to confront her. Not to argue. Not to create a scene. But to shift his energy entirely. He took a deep breath, opened a new note on his phone, and wrote something he had never allowed himself to write before. If someone's absence hurts more than their presence brings joy, it's time to rethink everything. He didn't post it. He didn't send it. He didn't show it to anyone. But it was the moment everything changed inside him. And just when everyone thought his day was over, and he'd simply go to bed quietly, that's when Ken made the move no one expected. A response that would shock fans, drive the media crazy, and define the headline for days. Night had settled fully over the city, and the online world was in full chaos. Every move he made, every like, every story he reposted, every absence of reaction, was being analyzed, clipped, reposted, and turned into theories. But Ken stayed quiet, letting the noise swirl around him like a storm he refused to step into. And then something surprising happened. He received a message, not from her, but from someone in his inner circle. A short, simple text, "You okay?" He stared at the message for a moment. The question felt strangely deep, even though it was just 2 words. Was he okay? Yes. No. Maybe. He wasn't sure. But he was sure of one thing, pretending everything was fine didn't feel right anymore. He finally typed back, "I'm thinking." Because that was the truth. After sending the message, he stood up from the sofa, walked to the mirror, and looked at himself. Not the celebrity. Not the media figure. Not the actor who had been criticized, adored, judged, celebrated, doubted, and praised. Just the man. The human being. And in that reflection, he saw something he hadn't seen in a long time, a man who was tired of being taken for granted. A man who gave effort to people who didn't return it. A man who valued loyalty, attention, and small gestures, but wasn't receiving them. A man who was learning the hard way that silence can be louder than any words. He sat down again, opened Instagram. Not to post anything, but to scroll through the messages fans sent him. One comment in particular caught his attention, "Even when others forget you, we never will." His eyes lingered on that sentence longer than he expected. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't poetic. But it was real. Genuine. Honest. And it hit him harder than he wanted to admit. Because the truth was simple, the people who cared about him had shown it. The one person he expected it from had not. And instead of feeling hurt now, he felt clarity. That's when the unexpected reaction began forming in his mind. Instead of posting something sad or emotional, he would share something strong. Instead of showing hurt, he would show gratitude. Instead of addressing the silence, he would replace it with positivity. A response that would surprise everyone because it wasn't a reaction, it was a redirection. He opened Instagram again, this time to begin crafting a story. Not a rant. Not a cryptic message. Something completely opposite of what the media predicted. He uploaded a photo, an old one, taken during a simple moment in his life. Not on a set. Not at an event. Just him smiling, genuinely, freely. A moment that reflected how he wanted to feel again. Then he added the text, "Thank you for reminding me what truly matters." No tags. No mention of her. No shade. No passive-aggressive undertones. Just gratitude. The moment he posted it, the internet exploded. Fans were shocked. Comment sections went wild. News outlets scrambled to publish articles. Everyone tried to decode the message. Is he saying someone didn't matter? Is this about her? Is this him indirectly confirming something? Is he choosing himself? The beauty of the post was that it could mean everything or nothing. And that's exactly why it hit so hard. But what they didn't know yet was that this was only the beginning of his response. Because after posting that story, Ken did something that no one, not fans, not the media, not even his closest friends, saw coming. A move that would shift the entire narrative overnight. And when he finally made that move, everything changed. The hours after midnight were strangely quiet. The world outside continued its usual rhythm, but for Ken, something had settled inside him, something steady, grounded, almost liberating. What started as a disappointing birthday had slowly transformed into the kind of day that reshapes a person. Not because of what he received, but because of what he realized. After posting his second story, he expected chaos online, but what he didn't expect was how peaceful he felt internally. The storm wasn't inside him anymore. It was outside, on screens, in headlines, in comment sections. And for once, he didn't feel the need to be part of it. He sat on the edge of his bed, finally opening her message again, "Happy birthday." 2 empty words. Coming from someone who had been active all day. Someone who had posted memes, selfies, coffee photos, everything except a simple acknowledgement that he existed. But now, something in him had changed. Instead of feeling hurt, he felt clarity. Instead of feeling angry, he felt distance. And instead of responding with the frustration she might have expected, he did something completely unexpected. He wrote back, "Thank you." Just that. 2 words. Polite. Mature. Detached. A response that surprised even himself. Not because it was cold, but because it was calm. A kind of calm that only comes when you stop trying to force something that no longer fits. But what happened next shocked even more. She replied immediately. As if she had been waiting. As if his silence had suddenly become louder than her own. Her message came in fast, "I couldn't post earlier. I was busy. You know how my day gets." He read it once. Then again. Then one more time. Busy. All day. Too busy to send a message. But not too busy to post everything else. He didn't argue. He didn't call her out. He didn't ask for explanations. He simply put the phone down again, this time with a sense of final understanding. Some people show who they are not through what they do, but through what they don't. And that was her case. Instead of continuing the conversation, he opened his camera roll and chose one last photo to post, a quiet moment from years ago, taken during a trip he'd once said changed him. A picture of him looking out over the ocean, completely disconnected from fame, noise, or expectations. He added his final message of the night, another year older. Another year wiser. Grateful for the ones who were truly there. No drama. No indirect attacks. No name-dropping. Just truth. Simple. Clean. Powerful. The internet went insane. Some fans cried. Some cheered. Some said he deserved better. Some said this was his soft goodbye to the relationship. But for Ken, it wasn't about making a statement. It was about choosing peace over chaos. Clarity over confusion. Self-worth over silence. And then he did the single most surprising thing of all, he turned off his phone completely. No checking comments. No watching reactions. No reading articles. He lay down, closed his eyes, and allowed himself to breathe, really breathe, for the first time that day. And as sleep finally took over, he didn't carry sadness with him. He carried strength. And a decision he'd been avoiding for far too long, to stop giving energy to people who could not show up for him on the simplest day of all. This wasn't heartbreak. This wasn't drama. This wasn't revenge. This was growth. And that, more than anything he could have posted, was the response that truly surprised everyone.